Hi, I'm Ann Dilker, and welcome to the Jewelry Making Professor. Today I want to introduce you to a product that is called Soutache, and I get a lot of questions about how is it pronounced. It is French, and it probably is properly pronounced Soutache. However, everyone I know in the English-speaking countries calls it Soutache, and so I am going to call it Soutache as well. So now that we know how to pronounce it, the next question that I get is, what is it? Well, it's actually fabric trim. And let me pull this away so you can see this a little bit better. And throughout history, you would see it used something like this. It's primarily used in the garment industry, and it, for years, was a big thing on uniforms. But as you can see, it was meant to lie flat and to be a decorative part of a garment. So it has, over the years, become used in jewelry making. And as you can see, in this piece, obviously, it's not lying flat, it's being stood up on its end. So I have a lot of questions. Let me just give you another piece here so that you can see it. This one's not as highly beaded. You can see how it's being stood up on its end. And a lot of people will ask, well, how did it get into jewelry making? And I believe it largely started in Europe, especially in the Balkan countries, because beads are either impossible to find, or when you can find them, they are prohibitively expensive. And so the designers over there took it and embraced it and made it part of their own. So what is it really? It comes in a number of different sizes and styles and materials. It can be made internationally. It can be made here in the USA. You need to be careful when you're looking at it, the sourcing on it, because it's not necessarily uniform in its width. Now, one of the good things about the program that's been put together for the beadsmith, and this was put together by Amy Sweet McNamara, and Amy was very good in working with the mills and making sure that all of the product that's coming from the beadsmith is the same width so that it easily works together. Now, they have two different materials that they're making it out of. They're making it out of rayon, and they're making it out of polyester. And you might say, why the two different materials? The rayon is more stable, but the rayon is very, very limited in the number of colors that it can be dyed. And as jewelry designers, of course, it's all about colors for us. So the polyester opens the door on color sources. But they are designed, so this is a rayon metallic. This is a polyester. And they are designed that you can work together. You can notice on this end here that is cut how it has not frayed too much, as opposed to the end here that even after it has been glued has frayed quite a bit. This is the rayon. This is the polyester. The polyester will fray like a son of a gun, and so it is really, really important that you have some glue or some nail polish at hand so that when you cut it, you can stop that fraying. And you do it both when you cut it here and when you're working it on the other piece. There are a number of different things that you can do with it. I just want to show you real quick. This is what I call a base, which is just the beads that have been surrounded by the Soutache. And I am going to do a project video next so I can actually show you how to do it. This is a base that has had what I call overbeading put on it. So you can see that this looks nice. By the time you put some overbeading on it and some beading around the outside edge, it really looks fabulous, and it's a really cool finished piece. When you're working with it, there are a couple of things that I zeroed in on. And what solved my problem, 90% of the problems I was having the first time I tried it, was I was using the wrong needle. And I am going to recommend that you use a Sharps. And this is by John James. This one's called a short. I think Amy probably uses a longer needle in hers. I found that this length works better for me. It's up to you, but what you want is something that has an extremely sharp point, because you're going through layers of this stuff. You want something that has a shaft that doesn't give, because you don't want it to flex as you're trying to put it through the soutache. And then the one last thing I'll give you on this video is I tend to use Fireline. It would be nice if I could use the size D Eslon or the Nymo, but I'm finding that, at least at this point in my stage with this, the thread comes off the needle at least a half a dozen times when I'm working on one of these things. And the Fireline, because it's a monofilament, is so much easier to just get it back on the needle. Now, the other thing that's good about that is the Fireline has a little bit of oomph to it, and these things tend to be a little bit loosey until you get the backer on them, which firms them up. So I find that the Fireline, because it's got a little more stiffness to it, a little more body to it than, say, the Nymo or the Eslon, is a good choice for the beginner on this. And so that's what you need to know about soutache in terms of how to pronounce it, what is it, and what can I do with it. And I hope you'll join me for the project video, where I'm actually going to show you how to make a piece with it. Thanks again. I'm Ann Dilker, and if you're interested in purchasing this, my website is mosshollowpottery.com, and I have this whole line available for you at really reasonable prices. Thank you.